Polyglots, polyglots, polyglots from all around the world. Good evening to you all. One of my students has agreed to ask me some questions about my languages.
All right, Brown. How many languages can you speak?
Well, speaking is largely a matter of level. Obviously, I don't speak all of my languages on the same level. And I speak some languages pretty much like Tarzan. In other words, I could survive speaking them, but it sounds pretty much like Tarzan. But I would say of the 30-some languages I have some knowledge of, I can probably speak at least 15.
And what are your most fluent languages?
Well, I claim to be quadrilingual, which doesn't mean that my 4 languages are on the same level either. But because I can get by in French, and I can spend the entire day conversing in French. I included French there, even though it's probably my French is probably only on C1. But my other 3 languages, my other 3 most fluent languages are on C2, and those are English, Castilian, and Esperanto.
And your favorite ones?
Well, that can also shift a bit from day to day, but I really everybody knows I really like Finnish. I find that language especially musical and beautiful. And although the Finnish have always been at war with the Russians, it seems I would have to say Russian is another language I find very beautiful. I like often I just like to have something in Russian on in the background, even if I can't understand all the words. So Russian is definitely there. Latin is an old favorite, and for some reason Indonesian really appeals to me. I think might just be the simplicity of the language or the Arabic element. I'm not sure. And then I like Arabic. I haven't been studying it recently, but there's something about that language that I find very appealing. The sound of Arabic, perhaps, and then the written form, all the different calligraphic forms that were developed over the centuries, which are truly beautiful and spiritual, I think. Okay.
And how do you find time to study these languages?
Well, it's hard to find time because you probably know I spend a large portion of the day just grading papers, and those papers are mainly in Spanish and English. So how do I find time for the other languages? It's often just going to the supermarket, just going to Walmart. I'll take a language book with me, or a phrase book, and read that while I'm standing in line. Sometimes I have to be up there for half an hour so I can get that. So that's language time in. Recently I've been doing Albanian. Every time I go to Walmart, I study my Albanian dictionary. Let's see
what are your methods? Any shortcuts or tips?
Well, the tips, I'd say the major tip is just take advantage of lost time, because there's lots of time like that where you might not have anything better to do.
Yeah.
So just always take a phrase book along with you, whatever language happens to appeal to you at the time. I don't know. One thing I do to memorize words is just repeat them over and over to myself, and this doesn't have to be tedious. At least in my case, I can feel the words, and I have a lot of imagery in my head, because I'm a poet. So
like flashcards, right?
Yeah, flashcards are very useful. I try to carry flashcards around. Whenever I have time to prepare some flashcards, I do. But if you don't have time to make flashcards, always have a phrase book, or many of you are much more technological than that. You can always have your earphones on and carry your iPod around with you. But I use any method I can, and I don't recommend. I don't think that Pimsleur is necessarily better than, let's say, what would be a rival? Let's say Linguaphone. Maybe most people don't even know about Linguaphone.
Yeah.
But I just use a whole variety of methods, but it's mainly just the old idea of the ancients that a repetition is the mother of learning. The more the word is repeated, the more it's likely to to get engraved in your consciousness somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be tedious. And another thing is, there's lots of things you can do. Start reading as soon as you can. Start watching television.
Films, right? Films or
watch films. Doesn't matter if they're subtitled.
Foreign movies.
Yeah, watch movies. I like watching soap operas in Catalan. I've been watching old movies in German from the 1940s. You know, there's a lot of culture. Always use the language. I would say always make it into a cultural experience.
Yeah.
And always enjoy that cultural experience, even if you only understand one word out of 10. You know, you're still entering into the language.
Yeah. All right. Well, this concludes our interview, and you can check out more videos on YouTube for more tips and on language learning. All right.